Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. Let's talk a little bit about Tony Yoka. This might surprise a few people that I'm doing a video about Tony Yoka, but the reason I am is that there are two things that intrigue me, and one is that he hooked up with Don Charles a while ago, and Charles, best known for working with Derek Chisora, has also recently, for the last few fights, he's been training Daniel Dubois for his last two fights, and Dubois, of course, beat Big Baby Miller, and I think that's a very good matchup, Dubois and Don Charles. And it is quite surprising that he would be training Tony Yoka. He's referred to the plan as being a resurrection for Tony Yoka, because Tony Yoka, of course, gold medalist in the Olympics, beat Joe Joyce in the final. I thought Joyce won that fight. A lot of people did as well. But very sort of slow burning in his professional career. Failed a PED test, which is always a very bad sign. He does have wins over Christian Hammer in 2020. That was a unanimous decision. He knocked out Johan Duapas in a sort of all-French derby, knocked him out in a round. That was in 2020 as well. 2019, he beat Alexander Dimitrenko. That was a third-round knockout, and he had another third-round knockout over Michael Wallisch. And, he won a unanimous decision over Jonathan Rice. It's not actually a bad result. That was only in his second fight. And in his fifth fight, he fought Dave Allen. Which Dave Allen had something left in. That was back in 2018. He gave Dave Allen a real whipping. I mean, a real bad beating. Stopped him in the final round, in the 10th round. So he's fought reasonable men for a guy who turned professional and was building. And then in 2022... he had his only fight of the year against Martin Bakole and lost a majority decision in Paris. Should have been unanimous. I thought Bakole easily won that fight, clearly won it. He then had a comeback fight against Carlos Takam, another French-based fighter, not originally from France, but certainly based in France and as for most of his professional career anyway. And he lost a split decision. And again, I thought Takam clearly won that fight. I don't really understand why it was only a split decision. So, but technically you can say, well, I lost two fights on the bounce. One was a majority decision, one was a split decision to good men. And that was in 2023. But then he followed that up with the worst defeat of the lot, and the third defeat on the bounce, which is against Riyad Murray. And that was a split decision 10-rounder. That was closer, much closer. Could you have given it to Takam? I don't think so. I think Murray deserved the win. And in fact, Riyad Murray was due to fight, or was actually sanctioned to fight for the EBU title against Daniel Dubois, of all people. Murray, by the way, is a pretty good fighter. He's 32 wins with 26 knockouts, 2 defeats. He did lose a 12-round decision to Kevin Lorena. That was in 2023. But Kevin Lorena's no slouch either. And he got stopped in 11 rounds by Arsene Goulamirian, who was a current WBA cruiserweight champion. That was actually a challenge for that title. So where does this leave Tony Yoka? It is a very strange matchup, Don Charles and Tony Yoka. But Don Charles says that a good pathway back for Tony Yoka, having lost 3 on the bounce, he's currently 11 wins with 9 KOs, 3 defeats, all on points. None of them a majority decision. A good way back is to fight Joe Joyce in a rematch of what would be the Olympic final. And okay, I mean, he's 31 now, Yoka, and we saw Joyce against who did he fight Joyce the week recently? I've forgotten his name. Cash Ali, of course it is Cash Ali. He stopped him with like 7 seconds to go, but he didn't look great, Joyce. He looked slower than ever. It's still got a good engine, but didn't seem that interested. Now, a rematch with Yoka for Joyce, would that really, even if he knocked him out, would that really propel him upwards? Because don't forget, that would be Yoka's 4th defeat on the bounce. But Don Charles says that Yoka wants Joyce again. If they offer him enough money and lure him to France, it's feasible. If Joyce was to win that fight, again, fourth defeat on the bounce for Yoka. Even though he's only 31, people are going to say, well, so what? Whereas if Yoka beats Joyce in a repeat victory of the Olympic final, maybe he will move up the ladder. Because let's be honest here, I mean, Joyce has only lost to one man, and that's Zhilei Zhang, who can whack like hell. It would be definitely a step back for Yoka. But I'm very intrigued. Again, I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm intrigued by the Don Charles Tony Yoka connection. I don't know, maybe, for all I don't know much about Yoka outside the ring, but maybe he's kind of like Dubois in that his confidence is low. He needs that father figure, which Don Charles most certainly is, to sort of pep him up and give him a bit of confidence back. He's a 6'7" guy. I mean, he's not a small fella. He's not that, doesn't weigh that much. He's not like 6'7" and 280 pounds, but he's big enough. He's got skills, but again, I know he had some out of the ring issues. I think he divorced his wife. Is it Estelle Mosley? Also a gold medalist at the Olympics, another fighter. I think they have a child, and there were lots of things going on outside the ring, which is okay. It's fair enough. Sometimes we get distracted and we have issues that have to be resolved before we can get on with our job to the best of our ability. If he's resolved that, and if he puts aside everything and says, okay, I'm starting again, I'm starting at the bottom, just maybe Yoka can move up a bit. And if I was him, I'd be looking for the EBU title. I think that's a good springboard back. And I wouldn't be surprised if Don Charles had the same view. But I don't know. It's a good question, isn't it? But what do you think? Do you think Tony Yoka can be resurrected? If so, who against? Do you like the idea of a rematch with Joe Joyce? Entertainment-wise, would that deliver? I don't know. Maybe. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about this. I know it's a little bit of a left field, subject, but I am intrigued. I think it's very interesting if a guy falls from a great height, from being an Olympic gold medal, falls down to where his career appears finished, and then he climbs again. I think that's a very interesting tale to tell. So let me know what you think. Comments below. Please leave your comments. I will answer as many as I can. I certainly read them all, but there's too many for me to answer. I just ain't got the time. But I do read them. Please believe that. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and also hit the like button. That would be great for us as well. Support the channel and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. I really appreciate your time. Take care. I'll catch you later, and bye for now.